because I was teaching 111 at that point. He was applying for a scholarship. And it was really cool. You've heard of studying abroad? He was studying aboard. It was a term on a boat. It's freaking awesome. It sounded like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But his first couple terms at COCC, he basically failed everything. He had a terrible adjustment from high school to college. He just had a terrible, terrible adjustment. So he then kicked butt. Like by the time I got to him in Math 95, he had already been through Math 60 and 65. He was on the up. He was getting like close to 4.0s almost every term. But his GPA, as you may have noticed, it's really easy to drop your GPA. Not so easy to get it back up once it's down, right? And that's a function of the system of 0 to 4. Since you can keep it close to 4, you gotta work really hard to keep it there. And because you guys aren't in school for like 25 years, it's kind of hard over a short period of time to adjust for big drops. You can spread it out over a long period of time, but if you only have like 2 or 3 years, it's kind of hard. So he came to me, he's like, dude, they're shutting me down because of my GPA. Is there something you could do to tell them that would convince them that I'm not a complete slacker? Because all they're looking at is my GPA. I'm like, let me give it a whirl. So I made up 2 more measurements. I called it GPM1 and GPM2. Guess what the M1 and M2 stood for? What did we study today and yesterday? Median? Mode. I calculated this guy's grade point median and his grade point mode. So I took his GPAs, weighted for a number of credits per term, put them in order, found the middle one. It was almost a 4.0. It might have been a 4.0. I still have the letter. I'll have to look at it. Guess what his GPM2 was, the mode? Almost the exact same thing, because he was kicking so much butt. So I wrote this letter and said, look, what you've got is a skewed distribution. You probably shouldn't look at the GPA for the same reason. It's so easy to knock it down, but you're ignoring the repeated performance that he has shown since then. I can't metric how much he's learned, but I can metric his performance since those first couple terms that were so bad. I also can't imply that correlation implies causation, but after my letter went in, 2 weeks later I got the scholarship. So, I'm not going to lay credit for it, except I am. But the idea is, just recently I was telling that story to somebody else, and they said it worked for them too. Not my letter, obviously, but the same kind of discussion was had with an administrator at some scholarship awarding agency, and it worked. So just because somebody tells you no to something like that because of a GPA or something else, frame it a different way. Write a respectful letter. Involve me if you need me to. I totally love writing stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You don't have to accept no as an answer if you think you've got a valid case. Don't just blow smoke. That's going to piss them off. But it worked for this student. I was stoked. I was totally stoked. But it only worked because I was able to look at his data and be like, they're ignoring the pattern of the data. They're looking too quickly at one number, the average, and they're saying the average is bad. And his average wasn't as good as his median or his mode. So I looked at the median and the mode because I thought it was a better indicator. And that's what I want to spend the rest of the day with you guys talking about. Which one should you use? Which one? Because now you got 3, right? Now you got 3. Which one should we be using? We hear the word average, right?